Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Just Call Me Viv. For years, I used to dread the fall. To me, it felt like the beginning of the end of the year, a slow slide into the chaos of the holidays, with all my big goals from January still sitting on a to-do list, untouched. By fall, I felt exhausted, behind, and just trying to survive until the calendar reset of January 1st. And then I realized I was looking at it all wrong. The end of the year isn't a finish line you want to limp across. It's actually an opportunity, a launch pad. And it makes sense why so many of us feel this way. Did you know that studies show only about 10% of all New Year's resolutions actually succeed? 10%. We put all this pressure on January 1st to magically transform our lives, and statistically, it's a setup for failure. It's no wonder we feel defeated by the time September rolls around. But what if the problem isn't our willpower? What if, like I discovered, the problem is the timing? Today, September 21st, 2025, marks the start of the final 100 days of the year. This is the real season of change. Fall is when our routines naturally shift, making it the perfect time to build new habits without the hype and the pressure of January. So forget New Year's. This is your 100-day reset. And what I've learned and what I'm going to share with you in the next few minutes is that what you do in these 100 days, in these final 100 days, can create more momentum than you've had all year. Fall is a season of profound natural transformation. Trees don't cling to their leaves. They put on a spectacular show as they let them go. And we all love watching the leaves turn. Farmers don't desperately plant new seeds. They gather the harvest they've worked all year for. It's the season of gathering in, of preparing for a period of rest and dormancy in the winter. And for us, it can be the same. These next 100 days are not about the frantic sprint to the finish line. They're a powerful opportunity for reflection, for harvesting the lessons of the past 9 months, and for planting or preparing the soil with intention that will define how we enter the next year. It's a chance for you to reinvent yourself, not with a bang, but with quiet intention. Let's be honest. When we think about changing our lives, we often think in grand gestures. We think, I'm going to write a novel, or I'm going to lose 50 pounds, or I'm going to completely overhaul my finances and become rich overnight. And then we become overwhelmed by the sheer size of that mountain, and we do nothing. We get stuck waiting for the perfect time, for a burst of motivation that never seems to last. And the secret, according to behavioral science, isn't to find the motivation. Motivation is unreliable. We all know that. It comes and goes like the tide. The real key to change is to make the behavior you want to do ridiculously, unbelievably, and impossibly small. We're talking about micro habits, micro behaviors, micro changes. What if your goal wasn't to write a novel, but maybe write one sentence every day? Maybe it's not to meditate for 20 minutes, right? Maybe it's to start by taking 3 deep breaths. Maybe it's not clean the entire house, but maybe wash the dishes before I go to bed at night. When a behavior is that tiny, you don't need motivation to do it. It's so easy. It's harder to avoid doing it. And this is where the magic begins, right? Because that tiny action starts a chain reaction. And that's what we want. We want to stack those micro habits or those micro behaviors and build upon them. And that's what we call the compounding power, right? That one tiny action might feel insignificant. It might even feel silly, but I want you to think about what happens when you repeat a tiny action for the next 100 days. The power isn't a single act, it's the compounding effect. So think of this. If you write one sentence a day, you'll have 100 sentences by the New Year's Eve, right? By New Year's Eve, you're going to have 100 sentences. That's not a blank page anymore. That's the beginning of a chapter. If you put aside $5 a day, you'll have $500. That's a flight, maybe, for a beautiful weekend trip, or a payment on a credit card, or a beautiful start to your emergency fund. If you read 2 pages of a book a day, you'll have 200 pages read. Maybe you'll have finished a book that you've been meaning to get to. If you do 2 push-ups a day, 2 squats, 2 sit-ups, you'll have done 200 push-ups. You'll be stronger. Get it? Right? And maybe I've made them impossibly small or incredibly small for a reason. But these small, consistent actions do more than just add up. They change how you see yourself. You stop being someone who wants to be a writer and start become someone who writes every day. You stop being someone who wants to be healthy and start becoming someone who moves their body every day. The most powerful phrase in the research on this is, I change best by feeling good, not by feeling bad. Every time you complete that tiny act, you get a small feeling of success. That positive emotion is what wires the habit into your brain, not endless grueling repetition. So I want to leave you with a challenge, not a big scary one, a tiny one right after this podcast ends. I want you to grab a sticky note, a napkin, or just open the Notes app on your phone. First, write down one thing you want to cultivate in your life over the next 100 days. Don't think of a goal, think of an identity or a feeling. Maybe it's peace, creativity, strength, or connection. Second, brainstorm one tiny behavior that aligns with that feeling, a behavior that takes less than 30 seconds to do. If your word is peace, maybe the tiny habit is to take one deep, calming breath. If it's connection, it could be sending one text to a friend or family member. And third, and this is the most important part, find where it fits in your life. You need an anchor, an existing solid routine in your day to attach this new habit to. The recipe is simple. So let's say after I blank, whatever your existing routine is, I will, and then insert the new tiny behavior. After I get up in the morning, I'm going to make my bed. I actually make my bed every day. It works. After I pour my morning coffee, I will write down one thing I'm grateful for. After I brush my teeth at night, I will floss. After I sit down at my desk, I will take 3 deep breaths. And finally, the part where we always forget, celebrate your win. Immediately after you do it, give yourself a mental high five. Say good job out loud. Feel that little spark of success. That is the fuel. These next 100 days are a gift. They're an invitation from the universe to slow down, to harvest what you've learned, to let go of what is no longer serving you, just like the trees. You don't need a grand plan. You don't need a massive burst of willpower. You just need to start today with one tiny, ridiculously easy step. What will yours be? If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, and share with a friend. Until next time, take care.